Imagine you just bought a home after going through all the things to get the offer accepted, go through the inspections, the whole stress of buying a house, now to only regret it and want to sell it just a mere 10 months later. What? I have been seeing so many stories online, particularly Reddit, about people who have purchased homes over the last couple of years who now regret it and regret it to the point where now they want to sell their homes. So in this video, I'm going to actually share some stories from Reddit about people's personal experiences. And I'm going to share like why they regret buying their home. And of course, I'm going to give my feedback and my opinion on what they could have done differently and gives a little bit of advice on how to handle the situation they're in right now. Hope that you will continue to watch us to hear these stories and to fully understand what people have went through and why they're regretting, and it'll help you when it comes to make that decision as to whether you should be buying a house or not right now. The first story is just like the title of this video: selling 10 months after buying my first home due to buyer's remorse. Oh my word. I can't believe this. I bought my first home in June of 2023 since it checked most of my boxes. It was a good area, commute, size, etc. But I made a huge mistake and didn't properly gauge the road noise before buying. And that's been my main source of buyer's remorse. If you've been watching me for a while, how many times do I say the location is so important? And if you're on a busy road, you're going to hate it. Here's an example right here. It's about 150 feet from a busy road, not a highway or interstate, just busy. And during the mornings through the evening, it's not possible to go outside or open the windows without road noise flooding the house. Being in the backyard is totally out of the question. If I'd done my due diligence at the time, I'd have absolutely avoided the house due to this. And I hope he had a good real estate agent that was guiding him, but if that was me, I would have discouraged him from buying it, but I digress. Let's continue. I got pretty lucky with the rest of the house because the previous owners maintained it pretty well. Roof, HVAC, and windows are all new. And there's been no pressing issue in the several months I've been here. I've only spent about $5,000 on the house and none of it on emergency repairs. But the road noise is such a source of stress that I'm considering trading this benefit off for some peace of mind. It's disheartening that I'll never be able to enjoy a quiet cup of coffee in the backyard in the morning hours. The housing market in my area is messed up enough that the price of the house has gone up about $40,000 to $80,000 since I bought it. That's in a year. He bought this June of last year. That's crazy. And I'm not even factoring in people going even further above asking price. I haven't ran the numbers yet, but napkin math tells me I'll get close to breaking even on what I spent to get this house. Is it worth to try to stick it out to see if it gets better, or should I cut my losses and run? I talk about this a lot, and I tell people you got to take that location into serious consideration. Being on a busy road, that is like the worst thing. It really is. But what's going on in this market these days? People don't care. They are paying top dollar. They don't care. So here's an example. I just took buyers out recently and we looked at a house that backed up to a highway, a parkway. Cars were zipping by. When you're inside the house, the windows were good enough. You really couldn't hear it. But man, as soon as you got into that backyard, you went onto the back deck, you heard it. And you just saw the cars. And now there was trees back there, which is great. But what I said to my clients, I said, now imagine this in the wintertime when all the leaves are gone. You're going to constantly see the cars whizzing by and you're going to hear it even more. And that was it for them. They're like, you know what? You're right. We even went out into the backyard. We hung out there for a while just to really get a feel. It was a beautiful backyard, big, spacious backyard. But they realized, I can't live like this. They couldn't live with those cars go whizzing by. And this poor guy is saying he can't even enjoy a cup of coffee in his backyard because the amount of road noise. So what this guy should have done, he really should have gone back to the house or, spend more time sitting in the backyard, being in the home, like open the windows, close the windows, see how much noise you can hear from the road. But it's possible he just didn't have enough time to do that because the pressure was on that you had to get the offer in, and boom, boom, boom. People just want to get these homes sold. They want to get the deals done. The realtor should have made him like really observe the whole noise thing and really think about that. Take that into consideration. That is the first thing that I say to my clients. If you're near a busy road, this is what you got to do, because you are going to hate it after you live there. If you're not used to being on a busy road, forget it. You're going to hate that so much, just like what this poor guy is dealing with right now. The house is in good condition, so he's probably thinking, okay, I'll live with the road. I have a decent house. Everything is new. But at the end of the day, that road noise is affecting his quality of life, and now he wants to sell. If I was him, maybe sit it out, try to live with it for a little bit. If you're going to break even, if you think you're going to break even right now in this current market, then maybe you just do that. You try and try and sell it, especially if it's a hot market. And by the way, going back to that story where I took my buyers to go look at a house that backed up to the parkway or back up to the highway. Yeah, that house got multiple offers and went over asking price. So just saying, this is what's going on. People are just, they don't care. They don't care. They're going to buy whatever. They're going to buy a house. They don't care what the location. And then you can end up here on Reddit with a story like this. The next story, this person regretted buying their house because a couple of things. She was living in the city, moved to the suburbs, having a hard time getting acclimated, and she's putting a lot of money into the house with renovations, and she's regretting that. So let's talk about this story. I bought at the peak of the market in June of 2022. By that time, I had already made dozens of offers, lost bids, and had a couple of months before my lease was up. I was desperate and started looking at areas outside my preferred areas. Bought the house at $700,000 and it needed a bunch of renovations. Have been living in a construction zone ever since I moved in. By the time I am done, I would have put in over $100,000 into it. I hate the neighborhood. I'm super remorseful and super angry with myself. I wake up every day asking myself why I bought this stupid house. I have so much resentment. It hasn't even been a year yet, and I can't wait to sell this house. Has anyone been in this situation? What is the best way to get out of this without ruining myself financially? How can I feel better about this decision? It's sucking every joy in my life. Oh my gosh, breaks my heart. This is a single woman that bought this house. And again, like I said in the beginning, as I was reading through the comments on this story, and apparently she lived in the city, she bought in the suburbs, and I think that's what she's struggling with. It's not so much she hates the neighborhood, it's just the suburbs itself. It's very quiet. There's not all that, the noise and the hustle and bustle and all the things. So she's not used to that. So that, I will tell you, that takes a while to get acclimated to. I've helped many people move out of the city here to New Jersey, and it's a shock. It's a shock. You can't, like, it takes a while to get adjusted to that. Can you adjust to it? Absolutely. It does take some time. Now let's talk about those renovations. Okay. This is another thing. Again, pressure. That she spent $700,000 on this house, and she felt like, okay, I got to buy it. I'm going to put an offer in and get it accepted, and doesn't care. She's going to overlook it and say, yeah, okay, it needs renovations. I'll handle that. I'll deal with that. Okay, great. But you're going to spend about $100,000 and you're in a construction zone. So I'm not sure if she hired contractors to do these renovations or she's doing them herself. Here's my recommendation. If you're walking into a home that you know needs major renovations, please get a contractor in there to walk the house with you when you're in your due diligence period, or when you're going to look at the house. Like if you see online that, hey, this house may need renovations, if at all possible, try to get a contractor to go walk the house with you to look at all the things that need to get done, to get an estimate, get a rough estimate, and how long is that going to take? And I will tell you, contractors these days are so busy because it seems like everybody's renovating their homes. Get a realistic length of times, how long it's going to take for those renovations to happen. You need to walk into situations like this completely prepared. Will things end up costing more than what a contractor told you it was going to cost? Absolutely, because you don't know what goes on behind the walls. There could be other issues that are going on that may end up delaying the project or costing you more money. So in this case, if I was her realtor, I would make sure that she was fully aware of what to expect. Sometimes when that happens, and I present this to a buyer and say, look, it's going to cost you about $100,000. You need to do this. This wall needs to come down. This is, doing a kitchen. I will tell people all the time, if you're without a kitchen for like a month, it's going to get old really fast, and you got to be prepared for that. That is the hardest renovation I feel that's done, is your kitchen. Being without a kitchen, forget it. It's so difficult. You got to go in with this whole mindset that this is what it's going to take. If you're not prepared, again, I feel like this person just jumped in and bought it and said, I'll deal with it once I've closed. And that's unfortunate. You need to be able to take the time to do the due diligence and understand exactly what you're walking into. So I feel bad for this person. Now she's $100,000 into it. Would I recommend her selling it? No, I wouldn't recommend her selling it right now. What I would do is like finish out the renovations, live in the home. Because when I read through the rest of the comments, apparently she does like the neighbors. The neighbors are fine. It's not the neighborhood, it's the area. So getting acclimated to the suburbs from the city, yeah, that is going to take you a while, and you need to accept that. And just finish out the renovations and just enjoy the house. You designed that house. You made it your home. So take some time to live in it and enjoy it right now. And you may end up just loving it and you're never going to leave. So this could end up to be a happy ending. I hope that her feelings of wanting to sell it just go away, and she'll end up being there for a long time. I just wanted to take a quick second to let you know that if you are in need of a real estate agent in your part of the country and you can't find one, click the link down below in the description box, fill out the form, and I will get back to you within 24 hours. I'm connected to tons of agents around this country, and I would be happy to help get you connected to one in your market. Next, we have someone with buyer's remorse and depression, and they're a first-time home buyer. The depression, that's really getting me. We bought our first house and moved in a few weeks ago. Ever since that, we are depressed. There are too many things we missed and noticing now. Number one, there was too much freeway noise in the backyard, even though the house is 1 mile away from the freeway. When we had initially toured the house, the noise was not that prevalent. We think it might be just the weather conditions that day. Even inside the house with double pane windows, we can hear a faint noise, which is driving me up the wall. We did not bid on a lot of houses because they had noise. Houses which were much nicer than the current house. Because the house is so far away from the freeway, we thought it wouldn't be a problem. There is a busy street 0.3 miles away from the house, but the noise that is coming is from the freeway that's a mile away. Okay, here we go back to location again. All right, moving on. Number two, there was a giant electric pole in the backyard, which we did notice, but did not think would be that big a deal, but it's annoying as hell now. Number three, the floor plan of the house is not great at all. The living space is very cramped and makes us regret every day we step out. Number four, there is no HVAC in the house, and all plumbing in the house needs to be replaced as it's all galvanized steel. It's 60 plus years old. All this has to be replaced soon. What? What? Why? We are in an incredibly competitive market with people putting all cash offers or majority cash offers. So we felt some of the things we could live with, but realizing now that we cannot. We feel like we cannot enjoy the backyard at all. And inside the house, the floor plan is not good and small. How does one cope with this situation? We feel like we should sell the house and move on, but it will easily be a $100,000 hit as realtor fees, listing fees. If we sell it at the same price, we will have to be paid out. Feeling intense remorse and depressed with the whole situation, as we simply cannot solve this problem, especially the noise, floor plan. If we drop enough money, we can solve, but we're not even sure we'll be here for 10 years to be worth it. Oh my word. This, oh my gosh. This is blowing my mind. First of all, okay, the location, we already touched on that. The freeway's a mile away. I understand. You're probably assuming that you're not going to hear it. You probably didn't. You probably didn't pay attention to it because in your head, you're thinking the freeway is a mile away. Okay, so there's that. The electric pole in the backyard. Look, some people could say, forget it. I can live with it. It's okay. But I will guarantee you that down the road, you do regret that. You're going to regret that you have this pole in your backyard. And I'm assuming it's an electric pole, like with the wires running, like the poles that you see outside where they're running the power lines, or telephone lines. That's what I'm thinking by reading this. Yeah, that's a problem. I want to talk about the fact that there's no HVAC. They have to replace all the plumbing. If I was their real estate agent, that is the biggest red flag I would have pointed out to them. And I would explain to them that this is going to be a huge expense. Okay, so I'm just throwing a number out there. And those of you can come at me and say I'm way off base. I don't care. I'm just throwing a number. So say it's $20,000, right? Between your HVAC and replacing the plumbing. Oh, that's huge. That's a big expense. And keep in mind with that plumbing, when you go to replace it, don't expect that price that the plumber gives you, that's what it's going to be, because there could be problems along the way, just like with any renovations. Once you get behind the walls, there could be other potential problems hiding behind the walls, and that's going to end up costing you more money. Or in this scenario with the plumbing, what if some of the plumbing has to be like rerouted or redirected? And there's all these extra things that could pop up, and it could cost you a lot of money. What I would have done, I would have told them that, you know what, let's not go with this one. This is going to be a huge expense. And people have told me, they're like, yeah, but a house, we need the house, we need the house. Let's go find a house that has an HVAC and has updated plumbing. You may end up spending a little bit more. Okay. But if you were to buy this house and you had to redo all this plumbing, it could end up costing you way more, right? If you run into other potential problems than if you were to buy a house slightly, say $20,000 more in price, and it has more updated plumbing and it has an HVAC. That's just how I would have handled it. I don't know. They didn't mention anything about the real estate agent, if they're working with a real estate agent. No shade to the real estate agents, but this is personally what I would do. This is how I would have handled this with this particular person. And again, a case of the pressure. They want to get in, buy the house, and they're overlooking all the things. So the moral of the stories here is that if you're working with a real estate agent, they really should be taking all of these into consideration and educating you on all the things that could be wrong with this house or that is wrong with the house, to make you look at the cons. Okay. Yeah, we look at the pros, but we want to look at the cons. And this is my biggest thing. And people say I'm probably like the most negative person. I'm not negative. I'm pointing out to you, these are things that could be a potential problem. Can you live with it? And if you can't live with it, and in your gut, you're like, yeah, that's going to be a problem, I wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't do it. Don't buy it. Don't buy the house. I hope you gain some valuable information, and it's going to help you when you go on your home search of things to look for and questions to ask your real estate agent. And by the way, did you know that 90% of millennials regretted buying their home over the last few years? And if you want to learn about it, I highly recommend you watch this video right here. Thank you so much for watching me today to get your dose of real estate reality. My name is Jackie Baker, and I will see you next time.